I know my simple words ain't gon' take the pain away. Yeah, I know I caused her, baby, just don't walk away.
Yeah! No!
What happened? Somebody did in my brain.
If I'm being honest, I'm actually really shy and really introverted. But I made up my mind that I'm no longer going to live in fear. With that being said, I'm going to say it how it is. I'm going to mean what I say and say what I mean. Share it out loud.
Now I need a third.
Hey, my name is Shay, and this is Share It Out Loud. On my channel, we will talk about several topics. We will talk about kids, marriage, mental health, and more. So this is my very first episode, and I'm very excited to have my big brother with me today. So he's actually going to get ready to take an amazing journey. This guy is about to walk from California to Florida. So I just got to let him tell you about this journey.
Well, hey there, fans and supporters. My name is Sylvester Williams. I'm out of Opelika, Alabama, by the way, a little fit. And I will be taking a coast-to-coast walk from California to Florida to raise awareness for depression, anxiety, and other mental health awarenesses. It's something that I came up with just out the blue. Like, you know, walking, that's how I relieve my stress. And I got a voice that I'm ready to speak, and I know it can be heard. And I want to do some good. That's why I chose mental health, because it's such a silent fight that a lot of people don't understand, that the world needs to know about and the world needs to talk more about. So
I'm already tearing up over here. I'm already tearing up. I am one of the 1 in 5. I solidly suffered for years with depression and anxiety, and only just last year, and I think it's only because COVID exposed it so much that I couldn't hide it, I had to, you know, openly say, hey, I suffer from anxiety and I suffer from depression. So I really love what you're doing.
that's the first step. That's the first step. Just having enough courage to just speak on it. A lot of people are scared of what others might say, or might not know how to talk to folks, because folks might think they this or think they that, but that's not the issue. Like, it's okay to not be okay. That's the whole purpose behind it all.
I think for me, the moment I was able to stand up and say it was when my son, my 11-year-old son, Sean, he created this mental health awareness line, Mental Health Matters. Mental Health Matters on. He started to suffer from depression once his great-grandmother died. And I saw the signs because I know, because I lived them. And in that moment, I knew I had to do something. And I realized that if he was bold enough to publicly say this, why am I hiding? So ever since that day, I just started trying to be bold, taking it a step at a time and showing them that I am the face. I am the face of depression. I am the face of anxiety. And I know that people look at me and think, oh, your life is perfect. You got the husband and the kids in the house. And they don't understand that it's not the material things, it's the internal struggles that I deal with. And that's what I want people to see, that you can look like this. You can take a good picture for Instagram and Facebook. You can have it all and still struggle. The other day, you said something that really stood out to me. You told me that you felt like you had a label on your head. And I just would really like you to go into detail and explain to our viewers what that means.
Oh yeah, now, because, okay, let me go ahead and give y'all a story. Like, when I was 17, I made some mistakes as a young man, and it cost me where I had to give Departments of Corrections. I was incarcerated for 10 years of my life behind mistakes that I made when I was younger. And after doing 10 years, and so everyone knowing that I had got locked up when I was locked up for, like, I was just so scared when I first got out. And I was so scared to go around people because I felt like I just got out of prison was written right across my forehead. So it was certain people I wouldn't speak to, I wouldn't even cross, because I was just felt like everybody just looked at me some type of way. But it took for me to just be like, no, I can't think like that, because if I think like that, I'm never gonna go forward, because I'm scared to do this, I'm scared to do that. So I literally just had to step out on face and be like, hey, it is what it is. I made mistakes. Everybody failed. It's all about what I do from the mistakes, what I learned from the mistakes, and my actions. So I got that off of my forehead, and now I tell them proudly, like, yeah, I did time. Yes, I went to prison, I made my mistakes, but now look at me now. Like, that's how I look at my future. Everything I do forward, I'm making sure it's good. So when I look back and I tell my story, I want everybody to know where I come from. I want everybody to know I did 10 years in prison. I made mistakes. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I also want people to know, like, look where I came to. Like, that's my whole purpose behind all this. And like I said, I can help others. Even when I was incarcerated, I was helping people. I could even making them laugh or just telling them stories to help them go another day. That's the whole thing about it. We just live to see the next day. So with this walk, like, I don't know. I know I gotta do it. It's a purpose behind it because like I said, I know I got a voice, and I know I can touch millions behind this. And not only, this is just not my journey. Like I tell people, this is our journey. Like, we in this together. Oh.
Y'all know I mean this here.
Oh, you good, you good. I understand.
I just really, I can relate to you because you said you did 10 years, and I may not have done 10 years in prison, but mentally, I was in bondage for 10 years. It's funny, it was 10 years, silently suffering with depression and anxiety, and I kind of stalked you. Right? I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stalked you through my husband's social media for about 10 years, and I would see you doing all these things. I was like, this guy's living. Like, even behind bars, you were living. And when you got out, I promise it probably was like in the first week. You did more in that first week than I have done in my outside 10 years. And that inspired me, and I said, okay, I gotta live. If he can get out and do this, I can live. And that really inspired me to really step up and say, okay, I got a voice too, and I need to use my platform to help people.
Exactly. Like I said, even when I was behind bars, like, them first 2 years, yes, I went through depression because I was like, dang, I done failed, I done made everybody mad. But I said it now, like, I couldn't dwell on it too long, because when I dwell on it, I end up losing myself. When I went to losing myself, it's like, it was times like I feel like I didn't even have no purpose here. But it took me to learn when I was in there, like, I still had a voice and I still had a purpose, even when I was behind bars. So I would make the best of every situation. So that's why when I got out, like I said, after I got past the part of having this label on my head, like, I just stepped out. I stepped out on faith. And that's why people just naturally attract me, because they see, like, where I come from, and, like, I don't care what nobody else say. I don't care what they say. I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna be me to the best ability. And it's like, if you don't like me, like, it just got to be a jealousy trait in you, because I'm just trying to do better. I'm just trying to do better, try to make people smile. That's the whole purpose behind it all.
So I want to know, what made you decide to be an advocate for mental health?
Like I said, like, I mean, I have a nice little social media following, and I know I have a voice that's meant to be heard. When I was incarcerated, I had a best friend. She passed last year. But she used to be someone who used to help me when I was locked up. Like, she used to talk to me about certain things and get me through the day. And I used to also talk to her, and she was real big on helping other women. Like, I really got to hear her viewpoint and other viewpoints from my sisters and stuff like that, because so many women go through that fight by themselves and don't say nothing. Like, I know so many women who stayed in an abusive relationship just because of the kids, because they wanted to keep the kids at this household. They might not have been stable enough to go somewhere. So it's just so much. And with her, like, I mean, I ain't gonna speak too much on it, but she took her life. She did take her life last year because she was just so depressed. And she was one of the ones, like, she smiled all the time and she always helped others, but folks never would have knew if she never would have said nothing. And, you know, she used to help me through so much, and it hurt me when she did it to herself. Like, so that's why I definitely want to be a big advocate on it. And because I do have a lot of female friends who do reach out to me and talk to me, and I just listen to them. Like, sometimes they just need somebody to listen.
All right, so you said something that really stuck with me. You said you have a lot of female friends that come to you for advice, and I understand that struggle. I understand the struggle of being a mom and dealing with mental health, you don't want to talk about it because it's a big threat. You know, you hear, especially in our community, the black community, you hear about you'll lose your child. So you don't talk about mental health. And for me, that's something that I struggle with very bad, to the point that I had a suicide attempt. And a lot of people do not know that. But I was 18, maybe 19 years old, and I really don't even remember. I just remember waking up, walking to the refrigerator to take some medicine, and going to lay down. And I walked up to my brother, and I told him that I wanted my mom. And he was like, she'll be out working a little bit. And I was like, no, I want her now. And I went to her job, and I looked at her, and I said, Mom, I need you. And she said, it's okay, baby, just go take your medicine. Because at this point in time, they had me on antidepressants. I had a daughter at 16 that passed away. And for that whole year, we did not discuss that topic. We ain't gonna talk about it. We're gonna act like it never happened. It literally, like, I was 16. It's hard for a 16-year-old being pregnant, but it's even harder for a 16-year-old to bury their child because you're not mentally capable of understanding all those feelings and emotions. So for me, the easiest way for me to handle it was I buried it. So we did not discuss it for an entire year. And when that anniversary rolled around, I was in such a dark place that all they could do is medicate me. I was on 3 pills a day. A pill to wake up, a pill to keep me up, a pill to put me to sleep. And that day when I walked to that refrigerator and took my medicine, I took probably over 200 pills. And when we went to my mom's job and she asked me, did I take my medicine? I said, yeah, I took it. Then I looked at her and I said, I took all of it. And she said, what? I said, I took all of it. Because I wasn't intentionally like, oh, I want to kill myself. I just wanted the pain to stop. And I knew taking the medicine, I couldn't feel anything because it numbed me. So I just took it, and I didn't realize I took it all. And from that moment, I kind of blacked out. I really don't even remember that much of it. It's just what they come back and tell me happened. I remember being in the hospital. I remember looking at the foot of my bed, and I asked my dad, I looked at him and I said, Daddy, do you love me? And he said, of course I do. And I remember that. I remember someone asked me, could they pray for me? And I remember looking up, and it really is like an outer body experience. And you always hear people say like they see the light, but honest to God, I laid in that bed and I saw a light, and I heard a voice, plain as me and you talking here today, and it said, I'm not done with you. You have a purpose. And I knew in that moment I had a purpose in life. And it was still hard for me. After that, I went on. We ain't gonna discuss that either. I said, look, we ain't discussing this suicide attempt. My family didn't discuss it. To the point that this year, when I told my brother that I'm ready to talk about it, he said, and this was over 10 years ago now? My brother said, sis, I always wonder about that. It's something we never talked about. Are you okay to talk about that? I said, I'm okay now because I'm healed. I've grown through it. I want people to know that, like, you go through these things and they're okay. Talk about them. I tell people, I don't care if you need to text me, call me in the middle of the night, whatever, talk about it, because burying it do not help. And it's like it's taboo, and I do not understand for the life of me why we're so afraid to say, I'm not okay, I'm having a bad day. And some people, they might not necessarily be depressed. It could be seasonal depression, or like for me, every year in October, I have seasonal depression. This year, I was triggered, and I don't know what triggered it, but I went downhill. I started getting physically sick first, and I was like, okay, I'm sick. So I was like, I'm stay out of work. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm sick. And then the more I stayed out of work, I was like, you're not sick. You're mentally, you're off. Because I'm able to check myself now. I'm like, okay, are you okay? Are you okay? You're not okay. So I checked myself. I said, it's not physically. I'm not sick. Mentally, I'm not okay. So I stayed out of work for about a week, and one day I caught myself, and I was in such a bad place. I probably laid in the bed probably 2 or 3 days. And I probably ain't gonna lie, I probably lied to my husband, told him I was sick. But it was a mental thing. He knew that. He knew it, but he allowed me to get the rest that I needed. And one day he was going to work, and I sat on my floor and I cried. I mean, I literally had a puddle on my bedroom floor. And I started getting mad at myself because I was like, why are you sitting here crying? You got a great life. You're a banker. You got beautiful kids, a beautiful marriage. You have everything that you ever dreamed of. Why are you sitting here in this moment crying when there's so many people who don't have? And I just cried and cried. And I sat there for a second and I said, if I kill myself right now, who would find me first? Would my kids find me first, or would my husband find me? And the thought of my kids coming in that room and finding me dead was the only thing that stopped me from killing myself. And in that moment, I knew I wasn't okay. So I picked up the phone and I called my mom and I said, Mama, I'm not okay. I don't want to live. And of course, we know them black moms, y'all. She told me, don't say that. No. I said, no, it's how I feel. I'm going to say it. I'm no longer hiding how I feel. And now looking back, she stayed on the phone with me probably from 10 o'clock in the morning until about 2 or 3 o'clock until my husband got off work. And the moment she heard his voice, she felt, all right now, all right, I'm going to let you go. And I didn't realize what she was doing. But now looking back, she was keeping me alive. And I didn't even realize it. So I don't know why people won't just talk about it and just say it, because I struggle. I still struggle daily. My anxiety, oh my God, it gets horrible at times. So it's okay if you're depressed. It's okay if you need help. Just reach out and talk to somebody and be honest about it. It's okay. I will be that voice for that little girl. I'm the voice for that 17-year-old girl, 18-year-old girl to say, I'm here for you. I will talk with you. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing Say It Out Loud, because I'm saying the things that people don't want to say. And I'm trying to be bold. All right, you definitely got to let people know they want to support you, how they can support you, how they can help. Let them know your social medias and where to follow you.
Okay, so if y'all want to support me in anything, you just spread the word, share a post. It don't matter. You can give me water bottles, or even you can get with me and meet me at some of my destinations. Just walk with me. But you can go on Facebook, and my page is Walk with Sylvester. Donate to me financially, because some people like to donate financially as well. The cash app that is set up for it is Walk with Sylvester. Just whenever you send it, you just put for Walk with Sylvester. And I'm getting the Zelle, Apple Pay, I'm getting Venmo and all that put into place as well too. Any type of support, even just spread the word. Like I said, we're just trying to reach and help millions. Like, that's the whole purpose and mission behind it.
I'm just so proud. Don't mind me over here like a proud mama. I'm like a proud mama. I get a proud auntie, as you would say. I'll be a proud auntie today. I will be that, because this is so awesome. This is awesome. And you know what? Y'all heard it here first on Say It Out Loud.
They don't want to hear this, but I know she